Hey guys, Josh Palmer here at South Jersey BJJ. We have just wrapped up a big no-gi Saturday. As you can tell, I'm a bit sweaty. But I thought I would just throw down a few notes or a few thoughts about a pretty special event we had here last night at the Academy. Gordon, the King Ryan, stopped by to give us a small private seminar, and we had a lot of fun. Firstly, let me just say thanks to Jay Regabuto for organizing the whole thing. If you're involved in jiu-jitsu at all, anywhere near the tri-state area, you probably know Jay and you've seen him do a lot of commentary on all the regional events around here. He put a lot of work in to get Gordon here for this seminar, and I'd just like to say a big thank you to him before we get rolling. Couple of caveats on my thoughts. It was a pretty short seminar, okay? It was a private event just for the guys at our gym as part of the Ricardo Almeida Renzo Gracie network. So it was only a couple of hours long. We obviously weren't able to fit in all of the content that I would imagine Gordon goes into in his longer seminars, but even so, you know, we had a great time. Also, I didn't film Gordon doing any of the technique. That's obviously a specific request from him, which is more than fair. What I did film was myself drilling the technique, and whilst you'll see little clips of it in this video, there won't be any explanation because it's not my material to give out, and I'd highly encourage you to support the athlete, to try and keep moving this sport towards a professional context and get them paid, basically. So Gordon doesn't really need any introduction unless you've been living under a rock for the past couple of years. The guy's won EBI multiple times, obviously, crowning achievement in ADCC last year. And then obviously we saw him most recently at Kasai, where he strangled Yuri Samos for a second time. I had the fortune of calling that match in New York with Sean Williams. So Gordon Ryan is one of those guys who I've seen a lot of. I've commentated almost every member of the Danaher Death Squad at some point or other, but I've never really spent time on the mat with them and got to dig deep into how their technique works. So for me, that was pretty special. So the focus of the seminar was mostly leg attacks, though as you find out within the first couple of minutes of Gordon starting his instruction, it's really about leg control and maintaining that control through different leg entanglements and the attacks coming off those control positions. The actual attacks are somewhat secondary to the control points. Now Gordon teaches in a very methodical style. It's very easy to see where this comes from with John Danaher. It's very clear, specific instruction. Okay, there's never really any question when he's showing something that there's an alternative way to do it. Okay, you go from A to B to C. If D happens, you go to E and F. Okay, it's very, very sequential and it's very clearly stated. Okay, the idea being that if you do these things, there is always a solution and there's never really a way out for your opponent. You know, for anyone who watched John Danaher's excellent interview with Joe Rogan a couple of weeks ago, you know, I saw some people on some forums saying, oh, they thought Danaher was just filling in the gaps, and, you know, some of the things that Gordon was doing weren't necessarily deliberate and, you know, kind of making up that everything was intentional when it possibly wasn't. And I can tell you, having heard the thought process and the level of detail that goes into it, everything is calculated, everything is deliberate. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that these guys know when they enter these positions and these sequences, almost every permutation is thought out somewhere along the way. So the whole seminar was taught as one complete sequence. We started with a couple of entries into single leg X, breaking the opponent down from there, starting in a typical ashigarami, transitioning through to outside ashi, and then finally into inside senkaku, and we threw in the submissions that hit those positions along the way, namely starting with the outside heel hook, across into a leg lace, and finally into a pretty nasty inside heel hook. What popped out to me the most with these transitions, particularly with the outside heel hook setup, was how much tighter the position got in the transition. Okay, there was a lot of focus on maintaining the level of control so that when you land in that final position, everything is locked up tight and you can start putting in the breaking mechanics of the actual lock. And that for me was really a game changer with going through some of these leg positions. At one point, I asked Gordon to put me in his ashigarami so I could feel the clinch, so I could feel the squeeze, and then to put me in his outside heel hook as well, so I could just feel how he went through his breaking mechanics. And let me tell you, that squeeze is something phenomenal. Just him setting in that position was making my knees start screaming. And then, you know, the outside heel hook, for example, he has 5 stages to his breaking mechanics, each one incrementally making the position that little bit tighter. And boy, when he got through the first 2, I was tapping already. I can't imagine what it's like if he goes full bore at position 3, 4, and 5 to try and take your leg off. It's phenomenal squeeze power. You know, I'm always a fan of visiting seminars instructors who'll demo anything on you to aid your learning experience. I think it's a great way. I usually try and get the instructor to do the move on me so I can really feel it. And Gordon was happy to oblige anyone who wanted to feel it. So that's a big A+ in my book. So we also very briefly covered just an over-under grip mechanic for getting a choke in from back control. Something Gordon's used on a lot of high-level guys. We saw him strangle Yuri with it at Kasai, this exact setup. And let me tell you, that was a game changer. For such a simple mechanic, that would have been worth the price of admission for me alone. A couple of us looked at each other and said, we've been doing jiu-jitsu for years. How has nobody just ever explained this simple biomechanical trick for helping set that grip up? So that was really a cherry on the top of an excellent seminar. Now, overall, the seminar certainly suited people with a slightly more advanced knowledge of jiu-jitsu or who are a little bit through their jiu-jitsu journey. There's a great level of detail, and the details really make everything, and they have to all come together to really hit the techniques and the transitions correctly. So having a good fundamental base that then allows you to focus on those details is definitely helpful. That being said, even if you don't, you're going to get a wicked appreciation for the flow and the power of sequential attacks, and just knowing that there's always a next step, and you're going to get a good overview of some of the fundamental positions you'll find yourself in with those leg entanglements. So all in all, I would highly recommend you attend one of Gordon's seminars if you get the chance. You will absolutely come away with details that you can start implementing immediately, and you'll definitely get something out of it that's going to affect your game the next time you step on the mat. Yeah, I certainly have plenty to keep me going for the near future, and next time I have to commentate one of the Danaher Death Squad guys, I know the kind of extra things that I'm going to be looking for and trying to convey to you guys at home. Speaking of which, I'm back on the mic for Polaris 6. That's February 17th. We're going to be live on Fight Pass from the O2 in London. And you're going to get to see Jake Shields, member of the Danaher Death Squad, taking on Craig Jones, who of course has another leg locking system in his own right. So we're going to see a real good clash there. It should be excellent. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to try and do some behind the scenes videos for you guys while I'm there, and with a lot of the guys who are attending the event. So stay tuned, hit subscribe, and I really appreciate you guys watching.